Welcome to the 365 Message Center show, where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed. Welcome, Daniel.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here,
Well,
and I'm looking forward to what we're going to talk about today.
yeah, well, today, there are three headlines today. We've got improvements to the text web part in SharePoint. Some good things happening there to give us a bit of variety on the page. Forms polls within Microsoft Teams is getting a rebadging. We'll dig into that and to what that means. And Viva Connections is in public preview, and we'll talk a lot more about that. Daniel, yeah, it is an exciting show.
Indeed.
There's a few things that definitely will we could go on and on about. We have to be careful.
But we won't.
We won't.
That's right.
Shall we start off with that first one, Daniel?
Sure thing. Why not? Let's kick the show off. No one comes here to look at our pretty faces. They want to hear what our opinion and experience is with this content. So let's get to it. The first off is new feature, improvements to the text web part for SharePoint pages and news, MC283569. And simply, this is, you're going to be able to paste images in line in a text web part. So the SharePoint text web part in SharePoint Online is getting a nice little feature here, so you can paste that image in there and then wrap your text around it. It seems, kind of simple, kind of something, most people are familiar with. If you've done this in Word or other word processing software, you can do this, but we're going to be able to do this, and it's going to be released to targeted release customers starting in mid to late September. So they're giving a little bit of a window there for even the starting, and expect to complete the rollout to all customers by early October. And we have a nice screenshot there, which is cool. We're able to add the image and wrap that text, and going to be able to edit that image there in that space as well. So this is nice, because now if you want to do something similar to this, you really have to work with your the layout of your page and adding web parts in certain places and images in certain places. But now it's going to be a whole lot easier for us to do that. So this is one, I think, of maybe a few, but it's getting a smaller number of items that I think would be great for improvements for creating news pages. But Daryl, what do you think about this? Is this it's a small update, really, but I think it will vastly improve the page authoring experience. What do you think?
Yeah, you and I were talking about this earlier, that because we've edited a number of pages, you get into this is how it works in SharePoint mode, where you think about how you want your pictures laid out with your text, and you start to get creative with left and right sections and put your picture over here and your text in, alternate or whatever. But yeah, this is more in line with a person's regular experience when they are working with Word. And so it's more inviting to someone who doesn't usually edit news or create pages. They should be able to see that. Hey, the other thing about this too, which it's just a smaller part of this update, Daniel, is the line spacing. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I think the feedback they've gotten, and I think it's good feedback, that the spacing is a little bit too much. We're taking up too much space when we could shrink it a little bit. So we're going to be seeing that for line spacing. It talks about header and the body, as well as bullet points. I think bullet points was a little bit drastic with the line spacing, so I'm glad they're going to be reducing that. So that is, like I said, starting this month and completing by early next month for everybody. So this is going to be a fast one released. So Daryl, I think let's talk about our headline for this episode. Oh, what was that? You kind of gave a weird look.
Oh, I don't know why you're coming through at a sort of 8-bit quality. So we're going
Oh
retro with
my.
this episode, people. Daniel's going to sort of hum the tune of Wonder Boy soon in the arcades. Yeah, most people who watch this won't get that. This next update is Viva Connections public preview rolling out. This is MC284081. And Viva Connections, we've seen a few steps that we've been able to prepare for leading into this, where you can set up a home site and you can get your global navigation working. And so you've got your nice bar down the side there within Teams. But this is where the action really starts. So it's not just about bringing your intranet into Teams, but now we'll start to see the dashboard, the web part that we can bring into our pages as well, and start to develop cards and have those presented in our intranets. Along with this, there's also the experience of having Viva connections on your mobile, so that when you do have Viva connections in the Teams app, then that little home button at the bottom there will start to give you access to things like the feed and to the cards that you are going to present. So a lot of things really in this, and it could be worthy of a closer look and a deeper episode, but I'll just highlight some of the things that we're going to see. So you'll be able to create and author your own dashboards. Daniel and I were talking a bit about the experience of once you've got your home site set up, what do you expect to see once this arrives in your tenant? So if we just go over here, Daniel, I'll open up one of these full screen, and we'll just hide your shared desktop in the background. There we go. Right. So this is an example of the dashboard. You'll notice here at the top that it becomes like a page within the SharePoint site, the home site that you're hosting it in. And once you have added that dashboard, which apparently will be underneath your settings cog, then you'll be able to start to add things like the card designer and set out the dashboard the way that you want. So a number of different things in there. I mean, this is a good looking example, Daniel, but what do you think about Viva in this stage as it's starting to become, I guess, more than just a way of getting your intranet into Teams?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is actually a big deal. This is I think, really a stage, a finish, not a finish line. It's kind of a stage point because they're going to continue. But this is kind of the big launch where, as we've talked about it before, where we could do things like you could manually add it in, and we've talked about how it was coming, the app was coming for Teams, but this is really the kind of culmination of a lot of efforts Microsoft has put together, and this is it. This is the Viva connections we were promised. We were shown and demoed. This is it. Now, yes, there will be innovations and such moving forward, but this message details how we are going to get all the goodness of Viva connections in public preview, but Viva connections rolling out to us.
Now this it's another example of an update where they've packed in updates within the update, or updates within the message. So it lists off other things that you'll be able to do, like highlighting video and dropping that into the feed. You can change the web parts within the connections, and there's a bit there about also seeing it from within the Teams mobile experience. But yeah, all of these things that we're expecting to arrive. Where's our date here? Starting to roll out 9th of September and completed by 20th of September. So some of you who are watching the show today might actually have it within your organization. You'll have to enable the setting within your home site. But once you've got it there, you can start experimenting with it. And the advantage of this next phase is, I think it's in the name. Like, we have a SharePoint app, but do we actually share it much from our mobiles, Daniel? Not really, do we? So where do we go to engage in our intranet from a mobile experience? And it's going to be connections. And the feed that we'll see there will help us to engage and remain connected with the things that are interesting to us. The apps themselves, those little cards that they add in there to give more functionality, like being able to engage in HR level kind of things, or holidays, or other information that's sort of a dashboard level. That'll be all helpful, and we've got a lot of leeway to develop things there.
Yeah, that is where I think it'll be interesting to see the innovation, and how organizations, when they adopt this, what do they do with it? How do users use it, both on the desktop and the mobile? It's going to be interesting over the next even coming months, but further than that. So I'm excited to see where people take it.
I have just one question too. Like, I know sometimes an intranet home site, or the main page, is a hotly contested space where the internal comms people, no, don't touch it, don't put anything too wayward, or that's not going to fit into our theming. We don't want to see it there. How do you think connections will land for a lot of larger organizations where they have those kind of tight controls of the look and feel of their homepage?
I mean, it is going to be something that it is good that it is turned off by default. So, you have to enable it. I think it's going to have to be this conversation that you have with those people that normally, have it locked down, and try to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to roll it out. I have dealt with many organizations that have it set up that way, and that's fine for your intranet if that's the way you need it to be. But Microsoft's about collaboration, and how are you going to use Viva Connections to manage that look and feel and that communications experience, but then also help people collaborate and get their job done? That's the real question.
Right, so keep a lookout for that. It could be there, but it should definitely be there by the 20th of September. It's about a week away. Samuel, our next message, all about forms.
Yes, this one is Microsoft Forms' new app, Polls in Teams, MC284259. And if you have been using in Teams, you've been using the Forms app, you can already create polls. So what is this all about? This is really Microsoft, I think, recognizing that a lot of people don't realize that polls are native within the Forms app, because the name of it is Forms. So rolling out, starting in Teams meetings and then moving to Teams chat, they're going to present a new app called Polls, and you're going to be able to create, well, wait for it, polls in this app. But they're removing the Forms app from those experiences. Now they're going to leave that Forms app within the Teams channel, so you can add that as a tab in your Teams channel. It's going to be there. It's the same thing you've been using. And not only that, but that same app, you'll be able to see all the polls you've created as well. So none of that is changing. But this new polls app will be available within that meeting chat, the meeting experience, and the Teams chat. So the timing on this is meetings mid-November, and it'll be retired from Teams chat at the end of December. So again, I really do think this is a Microsoft just saying, okay, people may not be able to see that there's a poll option there, so we're going to rename it, and not rename it. They're going to create a new app called Polls for you to be able to use in your meetings and your chat.
Well, polls are a good way to get people engaged in meetings. So yeah, just last week we were talking about word clouds, and that's a type of poll. So it just sounds like they're fracturing out the different kinds of polls and putting them into an app.
Yeah, so let's go from retiring Forms app from within
Hmm.
meetings to retiring something else.
Yeah,
Daryl.
Classic Exchange Administrator Center retirement announcement. This is MC 283874. What can I say about this? Great to see Exchange coming into using the new admin center. Now it's been there since April, so we have had a few months with it. But there's still been a few things hanging around within the admin experience which we had to use Classic for. And namely the protection type features. So down here we've got safe attachments or the malware filter and other things that you might need to still use the Classic Center to configure it for. But these are being shifted into the new admin center, or rather, sorry, they're being shifted into Microsoft 365 Defender. Now this is the new place to engage in a lot of different security type activities and tasks, admin tasks, and they'll be shifted into there, and the new admin center will become the only option after 1st of September 2022. So they're doing this last move, Daniel, of those apps into Defender, October 15th this year, but then they give a further year, almost, or less than a year, so that the admin center will still be there, but it'll have shortcuts to point to the new location. That's
Yeah. Yeah. So there'll be pages there that just
yeah,
have a shortcut to
yeah,
the other place.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's a long time to get used to that. So hats off to that team for allowing a nice large window for change management to form new behaviors and tell people you should be going to the new place.
Mm.
Our next one is, I don't have it set up, about Excel. Daniel.
Yes. So, my video is still kind of choppy, so this is
Yeah.
exciting. I don't really know what's going
I know how
on.
it crazy.
Sorry about that, people.
Makes you
Although
feel crazy about that too, I'm sure. Because
it does. I could turn my video off and then turn it back on. But anyway, so this one is called Excel Power View Retirement
what is with all the
MC284
retiring this time?
624. I don't know. Maybe the message center is trying to drop us a hint. Maybe we should retire. So Power View in Excel is powered by a Silverlight. It's a component in that. So Silverlight is being retired and will no longer be supported uh, after October 12th of this year. So they're saying,
that was
okay,
Microsoft
well,
Flash,
we're
wasn't
getting
it?
rid of PowerView then.
Yeah.
Basically, yes. It was a wonderful product that I think a lot of people just may have had a lot of trouble with, including myself. So they're basically saying if you use Power View in Excel, then switch to Power BI Desktop. So that's where we're going to be investing our resources. Basically what that's saying, there is no alternative in Excel. So if they're not going to release something, they're not going to fix this or redo it, use Power BI beginning October 12th of this year. So we have about a month here to I think this is a big deal for those. If you are using PowerView, this is going to be a big deal because you have a month to take those resources and recreate in Power BI, or they won't work anymore. So get on it. Because by then you will not be able to create or open PowerView reports from Excel. So this is, you can use other ways of doing analysis, pivot tables, etc. That is in Excel that will not be affected. But if this is something that you kind of want to use similar functionality, then go over to Power BI Desktop. So, I think this is one of those opportunities. Maybe where do you want to go? Do you want to use the pivot functionality for tables and charts, or do you want to go to Power BI? But you're going to have to make a decision. So do that soon. Are you a Power View heavy user, Daryl?
To be honest,
No.
I haven't heard the words Silverlight for some time as well. So I was like, oh, that's
yes,
right.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me either, sir. But yeah, so people get on that. We are now to our quick mentions segment of the show.
Yeah,
Daryl.
our first quick mention is yet another forms message. And sort of keep that in mind, we've had a lot of forms messages over the last two shows. Microsoft Forms' new mobile friendly experience for form creation and analysis. This is MC283607. This is about being able to go to forms.microsoft.com from your mobile and creating a form. And that later on, you'll be able to do this from the Office 365 app on Android and iOS. And so that's the app that brings all Office applications together so you can author things. Forms will live there eventually. So first off, the forms on the web will roll out early October. Expect to be completed late October, and then the app will come to Android and iOS. So they expect that to be mid-November, complete late November. So that could be useful to be able to create a form while you're on the go. Daniel, what's your one?
Indeed. Mine is, get ready for this, Microsoft 365 Information Governance, announcing general availability of retention policies for Teams private channels, MC283589. I think the title is so long, it has already told you what the message is, so we can just move on.
Pretty much.
So this is basically what it's saying. Retention policies are coming for Teams private channels, and this is available now. So you'll be able to go in there. Now they're separate. They're not, and these retention policies will not apply to regular channels. So, it's separate, but you'll be able to go and do that. And like I said, it's available now, and there's additional information there that you can go and check that out. So pretty exciting, because I think a lot of people have been talking about how do we manage private channels? We need these same functionality. We need these policies. Well, here's some retention policies for you folks.
Good stuff. I like the way you expanded on
indeed.
just that title. I feel far more informed. We do have a callback, Daniel. Something that you spotted, which, sometimes with these callbacks, when things appear in our experience, we're like, oh, that's right. That was announced a while ago, and now it's here.
Yeah,
SharePoint site templates?
Yes, sir. MC249248. SharePoint site templates. This was rolled out starting late June, but then completed late last month. And so there's a couple of ways you can experience this for in your environment. And one is at site creation. So you'll be presented with, hey, do you want to apply a template to this? And then the second is you can go to the menu and apply templates. So we have our Microsoft templates, and then you can have your templates from your organization. So if you created those in the past, then you'll be able to, or moving forward, you'll be able to add those and apply those to existing sites. So this is after the fact. This is not when you go to create a site, you're still picking, is it a communication site or is it a team site? Okay, so you're still doing that. And then once the site's created, you apply the template. So I am sharing my screen, and let's take a look at this. I have just created a team site. This is so it's connected to a Microsoft 365 group, but right up when it goes to the site upon creation, it says, hey, do you want to start designing your site? And you can then browse the templates. So here are the templates that are for team sites, and I'll show you the ones that are available for communication site in a second. But I can apply this. So if I want, let's say, training and courses, I can select that. What is it going to do? What is the capabilities that I'm going to get? And I can say use template. And then it goes through and applies the template for me. So it's applying that over top, giving me the look and feel and the functionality on my site. So pretty exciting, right? I just did that.
Yeah.
I just built my site, poof. Now, one thing that I have noticed is you don't try to use these straight out of the box, because first of all, it says sample content. So that's something you're going to need to go in and edit. But it does have the folder structure it's created for you. It's added stuff to the page, giving you some ideas on what you can do. Okay. Well, also I said, remember, you can apply it after you don't, after you're already using the site. So you go to the settings, what do you call it? COG, and apply a site template. And then that should look familiar, right? Because that's the same ones. I can apply a different one. I can also apply from my organization. Here is a template that I have created for my organization. I can apply that template to my site as well. So I don't have a lot of details in there. It was really for demo purposes, but I can do that straight away. And then let me show you the ComSite templates that we can do. I will wait for the lazy load of the cog. Apply a site template, and then here's the templates for the communications. So I'm not going to apply these, but it works the same way. You can select the one you want to, like a new employee onboarding, tells you what it's going to do, what it's going to give you, it gives you that preview. And as you saw before, this is a really good preview. This is exactly what it's going to look like. Pretty cool. So go out there and use this. I would suggest you go ahead and do that. Create a new site, maybe a new site, communication site, and try it out today because, hey, it's available to you.
Good stuff.
Go for it.
Yeah, interesting when you pointed that out, that the library comes out with sample content. So if there was a library there beforehand, I'd expect that it wouldn't change that. But
well, there was a library. If that documents library that I showed is the documents library that's created with the site. So it's adding those folders in there to that document library. Now, there's no documents in there, but there's the kind of the folder structure that it was applying to the site. Yep, to the library.
Great.
Yep.
Well, that is the show for the week. Thank you for tuning in and catching up with the latest that we have found and what we wanted to talk about. Look, tell us what you want to talk about too. You can find us on the socials at 365MCS, among many places, Twitter, Facebook. We're at LinkedIn at 365 Message Center Show. And it's a good place to engage with us and give us feedback or suggest other things that we tend to get topics on. Yes.
And hit the buttons.
Hit the buttons.
Hit the thumbs up. Hit it.
Yep.
Smash the subscribe button. And then elbow, because we're trying to not spread germs, elbow the little bell so you get reminders of when we go live.
Do a lot of people touch that bell?
Yes.
Okay. That's the show. We'll roll out from there, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.